design is a contemporary word. It didn't exist as we know it today. Before, the watches were conceived by engineers because the watches had to resist to several constraints, such as being waterproof, such as shocks, for instance, being also resistant to scratches. And this was actually what decided of the shape of a watch. Due to these constraints, some models became very specific and are still very iconic. I'm speaking, for instance, about the Submariner for Rolex or the Speedmaster from Omega, which shapes are still very actual. They became icons, actually. Things really started to change in the 70s, 80s, because brands needed to sell more watches and marketing got more and more involved into the conception of watches. And since then, the goal is to design more creative shapes, more creative watches, actually. But what changed really is in the 2000s when independent brands, young creators, decided to really free their creativity. This said, it remains very difficult to create watches even today because the constraints are the same. They have to resist to shocks, they have to be waterproof, they have to be scratch resistant, they have to be comfortable to wear. And that's why designers in watchmaking are really specialists of their art somehow, because they have to take in account the small size of the object, the technicity that goes inside. It is really a mechanism that must be protected. So we can ask us now, what is a beautiful design today? At the Watches TV, we think that they are basics. For instance, the watch must be harmonious, the watch must be also legible, and it must be comfortable. And the final thing that is really important, there must be a little bit of tension in it, there must be a kind of surprise. This makes the design distinctive and particular to a watch or to a brand at least. But design can be much more than that. For certain brands, it is really a very important part of their identity. And for instance, at Greubel Forsey, the design is all built around the mechanism, because the goal is to show the best the mechanism and how the wheels and all the gear trains and the escapement, for instance, is working inside. At MB&F, for instance, the design is here to underline the creativity of the brand and to really explore new ways of displaying times and creating watches. So it is really different. And sometimes design can be also a concept. And for this, we can just remember the all black, the Big Bang all black from Hublot, who was completely black. You could even read the time on it, but it was a concept, an idea. And you have also models that go that way. These are design watches also, but they can't be considered as usual watches because they are much more than that. They are really experienced into watchmaking. But in the end, what really matters is how much you desire your watch. And for that, there is only one way to go, is to put it on the wrist. Don't only focus on the watch in a magazine, don't just only have a look at it when it is in a display. You have to really feel the vibration and the pleasure to wear it with you. And this is the result of a good design. See ya!